Welcome back. The Royal BC Museum has books going back to the 1800s. Now staff there have brought in some new technology to help preserve them for future generations. Veronica Cooper has more tonight on how they'll be using their digital book scanner.
We have a lot of volumes in our collections, but one of that require the priority for scanning are our letterpress books. They have very thin onion skin paper, and a lot of the time the binding is coming apart, so they're very fragile.
And each individual page of each book, and there are hundreds, must be scanned.
Now if you have a look, you'll see because the onion skin is so thin, there's so much bleed through. Sometimes if you shine a light on this, you'll see 3 or 4 pages showing through this. You see the difference just here, just putting that sheet underneath.
A sheet which contains identifying information about each individual scan.
Originally, these letterpress books were done on microfilm. We adopted the things that we learned on microfilm to this brand new technology. So here comes the glass on top of the book. Then we slide this over.
The table is split so the digital technician can manipulate the placement of the glass.
And then we can just slowly slide this over this way.
It's a painstakingly slow process, especially with the letterpress books, because you have an issue with the glass going over top, causing friction or static electricity, and because the paper's so thin, it can crinkle or crease, and so you have to be very careful.
And now we push the exposure button. Both sides get scanned. We split the image in half to take this frame. This is a sample of what the print looks like after we've scanned it.
So why do this? Why go to all this trouble?
The information inside is starting to be lost because the ink itself is an issue. It bleeds, or it has bled over time,
which makes it unreadable.
The paper is so thin that they're starting to tear out of the volumes themselves. And if we don't do this, we'll lose the information. And we want to preserve the information for, future researchers.
Another vital task undertaken by preservation staff at the Royal BC Museum.
This Week in History, brought to you by the Royal BC Museum, bringing British Columbia's stories together.